All right, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about 10 things that all resellers should be looking for when they go to garage sales. This list is going to be subjective because it's only going to be things that I have personally purchased at garage sales and have done well with reselling. Now, just because something's not on this list doesn't mean that it doesn't make money. It's just things that I personally don't go and gravitate towards when I see them at garage sales. So number 10 on this list is going to be beer signs, and that's specifically vintage beer signs. I've done very well with vintage beer signs in the past. So at a garage sale, I bought this vintage Crown Royal sign. It was a mirror finish with a wood frame and it had painted letters on it. I think I only paid $5 for it, and I ended up selling it for almost $300 to somebody on eBay. The beer signs that you can plug in that light up with the neon lights go for the most money. So if you can find these, I recommend always buying them, because there's a high demand for them. A lot of people that love the beer, they want to represent the brand, and they'll hang them up in their garage or their basement. So if they find them, that they buy them pretty quickly. So it's an easy sell if you do find them. Just make sure you get them for the right price. Number 9 is going to be vintage toys. Now, when I say vintage toys, I mean anything from the early 1900s all the way up to the early 2000s now. I remember at one garage sale, I asked this lady if she had any toys, and she took me into her basement and said she has these vintage toys from her son, who is 40, and her son didn't want them anymore, so she decided to sell them. In the box was a bunch of Ghostbusters toys from the movie premiere, as well as a few Ninja Turtle toys. The Ghostbusters toys were the proton pack with the gun and the foam shooter, as well as the little Ghostbusters car that they have. And then it was just a few Ninja Turtle toys with it. It was action figures. But I ended up paying $10 for that whole box, and I sold it for a little over $250. So some other toys to look out for are Star Wars toys, He-Man, as well as wrestlers. Vintage wrestlers do the best, but even the ones that I grew up with playing from the early 2000s sell really well as well. Number 8 is going to be any instruments that you can find that are priced reasonably. And when I say instruments, I mean keyboards, trumpets, or even drum sets. When I go to garage sales, I see a lot of these items, and they're always priced around $10, $20 because they're just trying to get rid of them. The trumpets are usually a student trumpet that the kid had when he was younger, and now he's older and he doesn't want it anymore. Some of those student trumpets can go anywhere from $100 to $200. A lot of keyboards, they're priced about $10 or $20 when I go to garage sales, and some of those can go upwards of $300, $400. So make sure you pick those up. Now the drum sets, I usually only buy those if they're very cheap. If they're selling it for $30 or $40, I can turn around and sell it on Facebook Marketplace for $100, $200 depending on the brand. Number 7 is life jackets. Now this is weird because you would never think that they would make money, but they actually sell very well on eBay. There's a lot of people that have lake houses and they don't want to pay retail prices for their family's life jackets, so they end up just buying used ones on eBay. Now I know the youth life jackets, they sell very well because a lot of people want to buy life jackets for their kids if they're at the pool or their lake house. But the adult ones that sell, they sell for a lot of money. They could be water rafting life jackets or just a higher end life jacket. I've bought a lot of life jackets at garage sales, and they're usually marked between $1 and $5. And I always end up selling them for around $30 or $40 each. If you get a higher end like Astral or Yamaha, those can sell for even more. Number 6 on this list are going to be graphing calculators. Now I only recommend buying the TI-83 or TI-84 calculators. These ones have the biggest profit margin because some of the older ones don't really sell well. I've bought a lot of graphing calculators at garage sales, and they usually mark them at around $5 or $10. And they sell easily on eBay for in between $30 and $60. They sell for even more if you have the manual, so if they do have the manual, make sure you pick that up too. Make sure if you're buying calculators at a garage sale, you look in the back compartment where the batteries go. A lot of people let these sit and the batteries end up exploding or getting super corroded, which makes the calculator harder to sell in the long run. But like I said, I only really recommend buying a TI-83 or a TI-84 graphing calculator at a garage sale, and only for the right price. All right, so number 6 is going to be baseball bats and baseball mitts. I only know that these go for a lot of money because growing up I was in baseball, and when I would go to the store to buy a baseball bat, they were upwards of $400, and some baseball mitts were $500-600. So I always try to pick those up if I do go to a garage sale and see them. Before I buy a baseball bat at a garage sale, I usually look it up to make sure that it goes for a lot of money, because it's hard to tell which bats are good and which are not, but you can usually tell which one is good from the quality that it's made, or if it's composite, or even the shape that it's in. Also, if you're looking for baseball mitts, a great brand to buy would be Rowlings, and those go for a lot of money as well. So number 4 is VHS players, DVD players, and home theater systems. Now, when I go to garage sales, I usually only buy VHS and DVD players if they have the remote, because otherwise it's a really hard sell on eBay and they're going to sit for a while. Some good brands to look for would be Sony or Panasonic, and the ones that go for the most money are the VHS DVD combos. So number 3 is golf clubs. I remember specifically I went to a garage sale and this lady was selling all of her husband's stuff because they were getting a divorce. And I asked her how much these 2 specific drivers were going to be, and she said $10 for both, so I took them. I remember I made almost $150 each on them, so that got me hooked on golf clubs. A lot of golf club brands you should be looking for are TaylorMade, Callaway, and Titleist. I've done the best with these specific brands. So number 2 is going to be video games. Video games are very hard to find at garage sales because everybody's always looking for them and they're very sought after. A lot of the times you have to ask the seller if there's any video games inside their house, because that's the only way that you're actually going to look or find video games and buy them from somebody at a garage sale. A lot of good video games to look for are Nintendo, PlayStation, or Xbox. I recommend looking for as many Nintendo products as you can find, because there's a big cult following around Nintendo and they always sell very quickly. To be more specific, if you find any Wii stuff at a garage sale, always pick it up, because Wii is very easy to find at garage sales. A lot of people have Wii and they don't use it anymore, so they either sell a system for $10 or $20, and a Wii system can go for anywhere between $50 and $80 depending on the condition. But the games are going to be the things that you're going to ultimately be looking for, because the games go for a lot more money. So it's always good if you find video games at a garage sale to pick them up, because they're going to be the fastest sellers and they're going to make the most profit. So number 1 is going to be Pokemon cards. So Pokemon cards have made me the most money that I've ever made reselling. I remember specifically I called off work because I messaged somebody on Facebook who said that they had Pokemon cards at their garage sale, and they sent me a picture of this big tub and they were all vintage Pokemon cards. I asked her how much she wanted. It was only $50. So like I said, I called off work. I drove there, it was about an hour away, and I picked up the tub. I looked inside briefly, and I saw cards that were worth hundreds of dollars each. So I ended up selling that whole tub individually for, I think, $7,000 on eBay. So I paid $50 for this tub, and I made $7,000 just in Pokemon cards. I think Pokemon cards are one of the biggest things that I look for at garage sales, because they're very easy to ship, as well as they're very easy to find. A lot of people do have them, and they make me the most money that I ever make reselling. Not all Pokemon cards are going to be the same. You have to know what to look for. A lot of the newer cards don't go for as much money as the older cards. If you're looking for Pokemon cards, make sure you buy vintage ones that are made by Wizards of the Coast, because those go for the most money. But if you do find ones that are made by Nintendo, make sure that they're before 2010, because those are the most valuable cards. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys in today's video. Hopefully the information I gave you was informative, and you can at least just take a double take when you see one of these things at a garage sale, because you'll remember this video and you remember that it does make money. A lot of these items that I discussed today are always going to vary in value. So if you're a new reseller, I highly urge you to look up these items on eBay when you're at the garage sale. Do it secretly, because sometimes it's kind of rude if you do that in front of the person. But if you can look up the value of the item to make sure that it is an expensive item, because you don't really know about brands or really what to look for, I highly urge you to do that, because that is going to maximize your profits so you don't get stuck with a lot of stuff that doesn't sell. Make sure you guys subscribe, because I do have other garage sale videos where I go around and buy vintage video games and Pokemon cards. pretty much anything that I can find. And some of these things that I discussed today are in the videos that I've made in the past. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.